are good, honey.
Okay, yeah, I like you. Where's... I had another book.
It's behind you.
Oh, thank you. All right, are you ready?
I is ready. My name's Danielle. Well, my first name is Sarah, actually, but I go by, or have been going by Danielle recently, since I've been back in DC and when I went to school in Florida. It's kind of picked up a social media thing, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
And how old are you?
23.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me well, let's start with this. Who are you on a soul level?
Like, who am I to myself? Like, who do I see myself as?
Yes, underneath all the like material surface stuff.
I would see myself as a very caring and loving person. I usually find myself wearing my heart on my sleeve for people. It takes a lot for me to get that love for someone, but when I do, it's really hard for me to fall out of love in any type of situationship. That I think that I really care. I think I get a lot of enjoyment out of knowing that I'm the reason that someone is happy. So I find myself putting people before myself sometimes, which can be good and bad in some ways.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I think I'm just more of like a loving, free-spirited, happy-go-lucky, go-with-the-flow kind of girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything in particular that's happened or anything that's going on right now that has like a big impact on who you are as a person?
Yeah. Right now I'm looking for jobs, not so much something entry level, but something with the education that I've gotten from school. I'm financially independent as far as my schooling is concerned, so I have not to this date finished my college degree, but I'm in the process. And just knowing that I'm in a place where a lot of people my age have finally graduated and are like, stepping into the next stages of their lives. My process, I think, is a little bit more bumpy because there's a lot more responsibility and a lot more things that I feel like I have to handle before actually getting to that point. And I think it's testing my personality and my being so nice kind of thing, because I have a hard time putting my foot down or demanding the respect I feel like I deserve, because I'm so afraid that I'm going to, break a bridge with someone in a professional sense, in a business, situation. And I also, to my insides, feel like I am not up to par to be able to have that position sometimes. So I don't have as much confidence, or I don't, come off as someone who, demands the respect, because I, to an extent, feel like I don't deserve it almost. Because I'm not there yet. I'm literally not there yet. I haven't finished school. So it's hard for me to see myself, as a complete woman, because I haven't tackled some of the responsibilities that requires being that.
Okay. So I want to give you 3 categories, and I want you to tell me what means the most to you and what means the least to you, and you can mix and match them however you want to.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay.
So the first category is love, sex, and relationships.
Okay.
The next category is society, culture, politics.
Okay.
And the third is spirituality and or religion. So love, sex, relationships, society, culture, politics, spirituality, and or religion.
Okay. For all 3, give what I care about most and what I don't for all 3.
Or you can mix all 8. Did I do that right?
Okay. So so for, you said sex, love, and relationships? Okay. I would say that love is something that's definitely the most important.
Okay.
When I find that, then all those other things matter. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I don't care before sex, because who doesn't like to be poked? But I guess since I have been single for the past few years, I have found myself, you know, in times where I do end up having sex with someone, I can be very numb to it and walk away from it like it never happened, and not feel any feelings towards that person. So I can kind of seem, you know, cold in a sense, but it's more so to the fact that me being the type of person that's very energy driven, the physicality doesn't much matter if I don't have your mind. So I can do that and it not bother me at all. But if I have your mind first and then do that, it's going to be a problem, because like I said, I'm a loving person, and once I get to that point, it's really hard for me to go backwards. So yes, love matters. And once you have love, I feel like you find a relationship with that person, because that's where the connection comes. That's how love is formed. Right. It's from a connection. So when you have that connection, you have a relationship. It's just another word for the same thing, I think. And then, what was the next one?
Society, culture, politics.
Society, culture, and politics. I would say culture is the most important, because knowing where you come from, or knowing the whys to why things are the way they are is important. To understanding the foundation for things, to understand why people move the way they do, why they act a certain way, like, you know, why people come into restaurants and there are certain ethnicities at a table they just don't tip, or like, you know, some ethnicities feel as though, like, you know, bathing, you know, with certain type of like soaps may not be so much needed, kind of thing. Or, and, you know, and just understanding that you have a better respect for it, because when you're ignorant to something, you judge it off of the forefront, or immediate judgment just from off of the impression that you got. But if you don't understand the background, then, you know, it messes up a society, because that's how divisions are created, because you can't become a whole with someone if you don't understand it. Like, I can't have a relationship with you and it go well if I don't really know who you are and where you come from and why you talk the way you talk, everything. So I think culture definitely matters. And then what was the politics, something?
Society and politics were the other two.
It was. I mixed it.
It's okay. Okay. So we can go to spirituality and or religion if you want to.
Oh yeah, spirit. Okay. Whoa. Okay. So, whoa. Okay. I am religious, but I'm also really spiritual. I think in this day and time, with how our generation is and how technology is, there's so many things that are so exposed that people weren't able to see back then. So it was easier to be stuck more so on just the religion and what the book says, because they can't see everything else, and science isn't so much in your face like how it is now. So because of technology and because we're so exposed to everything, it provokes questions to everyone. That's why everyone now is so big on being spiritual and, you know, not being so against, you know, dipping into other people's religions and figuring out what Buddhism is, and like, you know, I'm a Muslim now, like, you know, people, you know, going back and forth. Before then, like, you know, you are this and this is what I believe and this is this one God and that's just it. But like, you know, nowadays, like, it's, I am Christian, and I believe that I will always be that, because that's where I was rooted, and just like, you know, the morals that come from that has built me as who I am, so I can't escape the Christianity. But the spirituality and, like, you know, the questions that people have for their religions, I have the same questions. Like, you know, where did he actually come from? Is he actually black? Is he white? Is he a female? Like, you know, is there another God? Is he even real? Like, did we just come from dust? Did two chemicals come together and start making something happen? And, you know, and a lot of people feel like they need religion to keep their sanity, because they have to know that they came from something. Because it's like, without knowing that, people can go crazy, because they need something to believe in. In this crazy world, you need something to believe in. So I think religion is a spirit. It's a spirituality. It is, to an extent, almost the same thing.
Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to get you to draw.
Okay.
So I want you to pick colors that represent you and who you are as a person, your life, things that make you happy, things that make you sad. I mean, just any color that speaks to you. And then I want you to tell us why you pick the colors that you pick.
Red, for one, first and foremost, it's not my favorite color. For a while, I actually didn't have any red in my closet. But my grandmother, her name is Eva. She's Eva the Diva. There are 9 of us grandchildren total, but there's 5 of us girls, and we are all Eva's Divas. And the color red has pretty much been like a staple of everything. Like, my grandmother's house is the same house that my grandfather built. My parents were grew up and raised, and all of us grandchildren have at some point in our lives lived in her house. And her carpet, the whole house, the first floor whole carpet is just completely like this color red. It's like a red carpet, and she's been my grandmother is a very her spirit animal would be Cruella de Vil without the demon part. No. You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say Miranda Priestley.
Okay.
From
yes.
The Devil Wears Prada.
Yes.
That is Eva. That's my grandmother, and she's red. Her favorite color is red. She wears red lipstick to the grocery store, honey, and it's just red. Red is just like, when I think of being like this, the color red pops up in my head.
Okay.
So that's that. Let's see. I really like emerald green. Emerald green is deep, it's rich, it's there. I think it looks really well on brown skin.
Yeah.
It's also environmentally appropriate. I would say that I'm not so much like an environmental hippie to that extent. I don't always recycle, but I like the color green.
Okay.
Deep. Wait, what exactly was I supposed to do with the colors again?
You're just gonna draw something, and you can stop there. You can keep going, whatever.
No, because then it
do.
looks like I'm about to do a Christmas tree.
Oh. True.
I like. This is cute. It's like yellow but not yellow, and it's orange but not orange. So good. It's a hybrid, I guess you could say. And I like weed. Weeds are hybrids. I like hybrids. So hybrid. We'll go for that maybe. Oh yeah, green weed. Duh. I smoke like every day. I think. I don't know. Let's just go for black. Why not? We need an even ground. We'll take black.
Okay.
You know what? I'm Rastafarian. This is pretty cool. This was an accident, by the way. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just draw whatever you want for the rest of the interview, and then at the end I'll get you to show everybody what you drew.
Dear Lord.
Let's see. Make a face that explains you. Like if you were a facial expression, what would it be?
Like this. Very happy. Or happy. My eyes are closed because it's like in lieu of everything that I go through, I'm still happy, but I'm closing my eyes because I'm tired.
That makes sense.
But I'm still happy though.
Do you have any weird habits?
I have to expose that. What do I do? It's weird. I will eat the yellow and green Skittles last because those are my favorite ones. And the baby pink, in the original pack of Starburst, like the light pink one, I'll save. I will not. No one can have those. That's mine. I like to. What's something really weird? All right, what's something weird? I like to. God damn, man. I'll color coordinate my paintings after I wash them and before I put them in my drawer. I color coordinate. Like there's a certain order, and I have to wear this with this set, or I have to wear this with, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or that's not good enough. What's something weird? Oh my gosh. Okay, you know those ice cream sandwiches, like the chocolate ice cream, and it's got like a little vanilla, and they're like rectangles?
Yeah.
So I used to peel it off and then lick the ice cream on my hand and then take the other piece. And I was little, I used to do that. I used to play with worms and kind of break them apart and still watch them move. I used to, what's something that's really weird that I do? I can't think of anything right now.
You did good.
Think so?
Yeah. That's some good stuff.
Okay.
What don't you want to tell people but know you should because it could help someone else? So, like, what did you come in here thinking, like, I ain't gonna talk about that? Like, or I don't want, like something that you don't ever bring up or that you don't talk about, even when other people talking about it. But you know that if somebody was to come to you and just talk about it and it was their situation, you'd be like, damn. Like,
it was probably that relationship.
Oh, okay.
Because it literally has molded me, which is so sad. Sometimes I think I'm lazier than what people think I actually am. I can find myself sitting in one spot for 3 hours at a time and not do anything and realize that it was daytime when I looked at the window and I looked at it again, it was dark and I haven't moved but to go to the bathroom. And sometimes I don't like people to know that. I have never been out about liking girls, but it's obvious when in the moment and girls see me because they're like, oh, she probably like girls. Like they can just tell. But I've never said anything because especially not to my parents or family and close friends because it's like it's one of them kind of things where everybody accepts it, but it's like, oh, I mean I'm cool with gay people, but not my child. You know what I mean? It's like one of those. So, and I'm not gay. I like men, but I also enjoy females. But yeah, that would probably be it.
Okay. Do you send important information through text message? Like, would you rather sit across from someone and have a conversation about something?
Yes.
Or would you? Okay.
Absolutely. I'm not afraid. And I think also because I think so much in my mind is naturally so loud, I'm very good at getting how I feel across in a verbal sense. Mm-hmm. And through text too, because I can always delete and be like, no, I don't want to use that word.
Right.
But in personal conversation, it's more authentic, and the parts that you actually messed up saying can actually be some sort of truth. Right. So it's like catching those mishaps in conversation actually matter. Mm-hmm. Body language, eye contact, stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I feel confident in that area because I like it when people get weird because I'm already there.
Right. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
What? I don't know. Shit. Oh. Alright, so it was one of my old neighborhood friends. We didn't live in the hood, but we lived in, let's just say it's the part of the hood where all the old people end up living, but it's still the hood.
Yeah.
So we were in that kind of area, but I was never allowed to go outside, like hardly ever. And I went to an all-white girls' middle school, so I was like in the mix, but I was also not in the mix. Mm-hmm. But there was one friend that I was allowed to hang out with every now and again in the neighborhood. And it was one time we was going to smoke some weed, and we went to cop from this guy. And I was cool, like, I already don't hang out with people outside of my neighborhood, so I don't know who's who and who's mad at what. Right. So I'm just going with the flow and waiting for her to find the plug. And we found the plug, and come to find out the guy that she had copped from was dating a girl whom she was not cool with or was beefing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the girl laced her weed with bleach. And she's now on the streets, needless to say. And I don't know how, but by the grace of God, she did not pass the blunt. I don't remember why. And I don't remember why I didn't hit the blunt, but I didn't. And she's my age, but she looked like she's 40. I've seen her on the streets a few times and looked her in her face, and she doesn't even recognize me. She has no idea who I am. What? Yeah. It's crazy. But I still smoke weed.
Oh my God.
But the weed that I smoke, I grow it, so I know where it's coming from.
Right. That is scary. I mean, I'm glad she's not dead. Like, I wouldn't have thought it would.
Well, she is in the brain.
Right. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is. It's sad. And honestly, at first, it didn't make me sad when it happened because I didn't know that her
The
brain was
long-term
completely
effects.
fried when she came back home. I just thought that she was just mad and didn't want to talk to me because she thought that I had something to do and she just didn't want to talk to anybody. And I mean, we only saw each other when I was at home, so I was just like, fine, bye. Like, you know, I
Right.
had no idea until I figured it out, until I found out, like, what happened. Because I knew that the weed was laced with bleach, but I didn't know that it had an effect on her mentally until, like, you know, my dad was talking to her dad, and they were our neighbors, and, you know, just found out. She's like, so.
Oh my God, that's so terrifying.
Yeah.
What do you think will restore connection in our generation?
Maybe like a, maybe if we didn't have well, I can't even say that because it actually has brought us together at the same time.
Right.
Somehow, some way, some form of communication where everyone is able to communicate without seeing what you have. So some type of blindness to the communication, so you can actually create relationship with the person, not for what they have.
Right.
Because a lot of people in our generation now, they will only speak to you or only want to befriend you if you have something that they want, or if you're in a position in life where they want to be, which is the only time that they're willing to be themselves or, you know, to open up to you. But if you were to be blind and had no idea, you know, what someone had or anything, you don't have the opportunity to measure somebody on, you know, possession. You literally are off of energy, and you can literally find some of the greatest people on earth who have 3 followers.
For real.
People don't know that because they want to be, you know, on the shade room. So
True. Okay.
but so do I, so there's that.
True. All right.
I don't know what I'm drawing.
No, it's fine. So what's your 5-year plan?
Okay. So I want to be able to finish school. I have my associates in physics, and I'm pursuing my master's, or I guess bachelor's and master's. But with architecture, you can do it in 5 years and get your master's at the same time. But architecture is my overall major. But I wanted to minor in like a graphic design or some type of design purpose, because I really like to make things look good, whether it be furniture, to nails, or to just some type of aesthetic where your design is required is what I like to do. So I think like with having the physics and then the architecture and then the graphic design, I also did physics too. My initial reason for doing that was Central didn't have architecture, but my grandfather, he was a mathematician. He used to teach math in Africa. And so I wanted to do that. And just being black and being a woman at the same time in the industry where I want to be, I'm like the utmost minority. So by doing that, it just makes me more of a threat and harder to say no. But yeah, I just want to be able to be in a position where I'm qualified to be in any area of design, whether it be designing wheels or designing the next color for the next Honda for 2020, or directing the setup and the environment for a commercial, or, you know, another shape for another MacBook. Like, what's the next ones to come out? You know, stuff like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I can totally see you doing that. So please keep me updated.
Yeah.
Last question. What do you want to say to the world?
That it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Right now, I know that. I guess like if you could really like ask yourself, like at the end of your life, like how was your life? And if you feel like, you know, a broken tire or you know, a flat tire or a bad relationship was, you know, the worst of your life, then basically you're not living your life well enough.
Right.
And that, like, you know, in a day spectrum, something like that is a big deal, but in your entire life, it's not. So just be more optimistic, know that everything is only temporary, and just keep pushing, bro. Like, if you really feel like you're going to make it, and you really believe that you're going to make it and you're working for it, you can get there. Because every now and again, in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm not going anywhere. But tomorrow morning, I'll be like, I'm going somewhere.
Right.
Because right now, I'm like, am I going somewhere? So, you know, every now and then, but, you know, just, it's going to be okay, basically. It's going to be okay.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Show me what you do.
I drew one flame.
It's beautiful.
I couldn't do anything else. Yeah.
I love it.
I can't think and draw at the same time.
No, and nobody really can. You can do Danielle or Sarah Danielle. Whatever.
This is Sarah Danielle in the flesh.